Following the trade of starred wide receiver Tyreek Hill, the Kansas City Chiefs now have picks, the 29th and 30th, in the upcoming 2022 NFL Draft. This will be one of the most important drafts for the Chiefs they've ever taken part of. The main positions that they will need to address in this draft are quite familiar sights when compared to ones in recent seasons: wide receiver, defensive end, and cornerback. So let's take a look at some of the prospects the Chiefs should draft if they're still on the board when it comes their time to pick on their 29th and 30th pick of the 2022 NFL Draft. Wideout Jameson Williams out of Ohio State and Chris Olave may not be the first Ohio State receivers to go off the board. Most likely it will be Garrett Wilson, who is a near lock as a first-round pick, but personally, I would take Olave as the top wideout of this draft. He has an unbelievable speed and he's a weapon just alone. He was a contributor for the Buckeyes. In 4 games, he had at least 100 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns, showing he can have a pop-off game if needed. He also consistently produced, putting up at least 50 receiving yards or a touchdown in 30 of 33 games played in the last 3 seasons. As a rookie, Olave would instantly contend to be the top wide receiver option in Kansas City, just ahead of Juju Smith-Schuster and certainly ahead of Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Mecole Hardman. There's just something about defensive backs, and that's the next guy we're going to talk about, especially cornerbacks that come from the University of Washington. Trent McDuffie is the latest hit to come out of DBU of the Pacific Northwest, and he has some tremendous production in his first 3 seasons with the Huskies. In 2021, McDuffie allowed just 111 yards over 296 coverage snaps, with just 2 games of 20-plus yards allowed and 0 games of 40-plus yards allowed. He also finished the season with 0 touchdowns allowed. But with everything good, I gotta tell you the bad. The negative with McDuffie would be that he isn't much of a ball-playing corner. He had 0 interceptions and only 5 passes broken up in 2021. And finally, let's talk about edge David Ojabo out of the University of Michigan, who is a highly touted player for the Wolverines, where he and Aiden Hutchinson combined to form one of the best pass rushing duos in college football this past 2021. Ojabo had 11 sacks last season for the Wolverines and is a freak athlete with great pass rushing ability, and if selected by the Chiefs, he could be a huge part of the defense, tapping into its potential. The Chiefs ought to consider this, especially with the chance that they may move on from Frank Clark after this season. If they do draft Ojabo, though, they need to find another edge defender in the draft or simply in free agency. Of these 3 options, I would rank Olave first, McDuffie second, and Ojabo third. But if Ojabo was healthy, however, he'd be even with Olave at the top. He's still likely worth the investment with his talent, despite missing most or all of his rookie season.